Are you experiencing digital confusion in your church or your ministry? If so, I'm going to give you 2 simple things that you can do right now to help eliminate that confusion and start moving forward into this new era of ministry. Hey heroes, my name is Tom Pounder and this is the Digital in 5 show. This is a show where I take 5 minutes to talk about digital tools or trends that are happening around the world and apply it into our ministry context. And today we're going to talk about digital confusion. And what does that mean? Okay, so the reality is that before COVID, you probably had a social media person or even an online campus pastor if you were lucky, or someone who was geared to doing some of your online ministry. But then when COVID hit, everybody in your church or your staff and some volunteers were doing online ministry. Everyone became digital ministers because we had to become digital ministers. Well, now that we're starting to get out of that time where everyone has to be it and people are doing in-person ministry and doing digital ministry, it's not just all online, it's in-person or digital. There are new opportunities for you to go out and do ministry. Well, now that we're entering in this new phase of ministry where, again, we're doing in-person, not just online ministry, now you have to come up with some clarity here. You have to get out of the confusion of what people were doing during COVID and what people can be doing. And if you don't have clarity, you're going to have a lot of confusion. Who's doing what? Well, I'm going to give you 2 simple things that you can do. The first thing is to start working on your job description. Okay, job descriptions completely changed during COVID. Well, now that you're getting out of that, what is your job? What is your role? What digital aspects are you going to take and what in-person aspects are you going to take? Who's going to be the online campus pastor? Who's going to be in charge of the live stream? Who's going to be charging social media? Who's going to be doing what in digital? You have to get out of that blurry time and start setting up real job descriptions again about what your ministry looks like. What digital components are you doing and what in-person components are you doing? What digital components is this person doing compared to what you're doing, and how can you all work together? You really have to look at your job description and reevaluate what people are doing and how they're doing it. Now, the second thing is something I think is really important. You know, they say a lot of times that emails are better than meetings, and we like to joke to say that meeting could have easily been an email. And that's true in a lot of cases. However, when you're trying to get out of digital confusion and trying to settle things, it's best to meet up in person. You know, emails are great for a lot of things, but emails can also be really hard because you can't understand tone, you can't understand what people are really trying to say because there's some miscommunication there. So I would encourage you to set up a meeting with all the major stakeholders, all the major digital component people, and get them in a room and determine who's doing what, who's in charge of this, and who's in charge of that. In fact, I highly recommend this because I actually just did this. There was a lot of confusion in our church and our staff about who's doing what because we were all doing similar things. So who's really in charge of what? I got us all together in a room, and for an hour and 15 minutes, we talked openly and freely about what we're doing and how we can work together more. So once you set aside your job descriptions, I would encourage you to do a meeting as well. Or you can actually flip-flop it. Get everyone together in a meeting, talk about what you're doing and how you're doing, and then set up some job descriptions with your executive pastor, the main pastor, and say, this is what we want to be doing moving forward. Again, there can be a lot of confusion that happened during COVID because everyone was doing the same stuff. Well, now that we're getting out of it, you've got to bring clarity to your church or you're going to frustrate staffers, and you're going to also be stepping on each other's toes. You're going to be doing things that are taking up way too much time because you guys are all doing the same things. Bring clarity to the situation, set up a meeting, do a job description, and see how that can bring you out of some digital confusion that you're experiencing. So those are the 2 suggestions I would have, but I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to hear how you're getting out of this digital confusion time. Definitely put it in the comment section below, or if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or on a podcast, definitely hit me up on Twitter at @TAPounder. I would love to talk to you a little bit more about this and hear what you're doing so I can learn from you as well as you're possibly learning from me. Well, I hope you're learning from me on this as well. So that is what I'd love to hear from you today. All right, heroes. Well, that's it for the Digital in 5 show. Again, you can go and subscribe to us on iTunes or Spotify, or you can get on YouTube and subscribe to it as well. I would also love for you to go to ymsidekick.com. There I've got my blog, the podcast. I've got other ebooks on there and information about the digital Bootcamp Facebook group. It's the Facebook group where all ministers come from all different backgrounds and we learn digital tools and trends, much like what we're doing here in the Digital on 5 show, and apply it into our ministry context. It's a great Facebook group that I would love for you to be a part of today. All right, heroes. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you get out of this digital confusion, and I'll talk to you soon with a whole new video or podcast. Have a great one, heroes.